Hey everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. Thank you so much for listening. This is your host, Tom Quee. We are back with yet another Fancast. If you're not familiar with this format, it's essentially me speaking to a famed fan, someone who mostly haven't battled, who just might be famous for notorious or infamous or maybe some sort of interestingly mundane sort of reasons. And today is no different. Just before we get to today's guest, please follow us at Battle Rap Resume. Get in touch with me if you want to come on the show, you want to discuss something, you want to correspond, you want to give me your feedback. battlerapresume@gmail.com. We have hats for sale as well. One person has bought them. Thank you so much to that guy. But if you want to join him, it'd be the hallowed second and maybe the third. The link's in the description below as well. Patreon, if you want to support as well. Patreon.com/battlerapresume. iTunes, leave us a review on iTunes. Positive review is greatly appreciated as well. But yeah, I'm joined by Emily. And I mean, Emily, I became aware of you as a lot of people did. Like, you were sort of a fan online on the forums, you know, and in a lame sort of novel way, a girl fan. So that sort of stuck out in a certain way. But you got mentioned like 4 or 5 times, separate occasions at 7th birthday. That's crazy for a bystander.
Yeah, it was a massive thing for me. Like I've been involved in this scene for a long time. So it was one of those things, getting to 7th birthday weekend, having been mentioned that many times, it was quite surreal, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll build to that. That's a sort of crescendo. I want to get the origin story. But just before we do, great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
You're more than welcome. Happy to do it.
So, battle rap for you. When did it start? Well, you know, how did you get into it? How did you become aware of it?
Started watching battle rap at age 15. So that is 7 years ago now.
Right.
Yeah. Started watching. I think the first battle I ever actually watched was Blizzard versus Zeus.
Oh, yeah.
Blizzard versus Zeus. So I started watching that one, and then I just slowly but surely got into it, and yeah, and then went to my first event at 16 years old. It was the Brighton Beach Bash, I think it was.
Yeah. That was. I love the setting for that. Tony D and Locksmith teaming up there against Verb and Joker. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. It's perfect. Down on the beach, it's such a sunny, lovely day, open to all as well. So it's such a fantastic thing because you had people who were so interested in battle rap, and then you had a lot of like bystanders coming along, getting involved in it, and just seeing the reactions of people, and after seeing people in battles and stuff like that, seeing the reactions of random people coming up was just fantastic. Being able to see it all, to be honest.
Any abiding memories from that event? Because it is so surreal, isn't it? I completely agree. When you see people in face, like I remember when I went to my first event in 2012, and I couldn't believe I was seeing Mickey Worthless in the flesh. I couldn't believe he was in the queue. You know what I mean? It's you know, these are celebrities to us to a certain extent. You know, the same way someone would blush if they saw a sportsman or something. I feel the same way about Eddie P. Yeah,
without a doubt. I still have those moments all of the time, even though now, for example, Tony is just a wonderful human, and I consider him a friend. But every time I see him, I still, inside, you get this little like fangirl, like, oh my god, it's Tony D.
I know.
It's madness. Yeah, standout memories from that event. It was just meeting everyone, really. I remember it was seeing Earth the first time and being like, oh my god, this is this person that I've watched for so long, and then seeing Kruger as well, and then it was meeting Tony and Locksmith and just a lot of sort of the Brighton rappers were there as well. So you had like Seaslin, previously known as TC, and you had Gizmo and a lot of the rom-com down there. I think maybe Zayn Azrai, he had a massive suitcase with him, probably about the same size as he was, to be honest with you. I remember sitting there and having a conversation with him, trying to watch a battle, and then he kept on trying to talk, and I was like, I just watch the battle. I really appreciate it, but I do really just want to watch this battle at this moment in time.
Why was Zayn there? Did Zayn battle there? Or?
Yeah, Zayn Azrai was there, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Just,
It's madness.
And as it grew then, you know, going forward, so when was that? Was that 2012, 2013 that battle went down? I think when that event was.
That sounds about 6 years ago. Yeah. So yeah, it would have been about 2012. Yeah.
And so we can see you on camera, can't we?
Yeah. So in a couple of the battles, I'm seen on camera, sort of to the side, really. But yeah, I'm seen on camera. So that's the first time that like I said, first event seen on camera there. Lining up on Facebook with Tony D and me with Joker Star and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a big thing for me.
Yeah, it's the Boozetown Beach Bash. And yeah, I love the way it's shot as well, with the fisheye and got the fencing behind and everyone's looking across. And I'm not familiar with Brighton at all, to be honest with you, but I suppose there's some sort of famous white hotel in the background as well. And the mood is awesome. So going forward, then, was this a scene that you didn't just want to be a fan of? You wanted to attend? You wanted to know these people? Was that an impulse?
Well, from then onwards, so I didn't go to events for 2 years. Wasn't legally able to get into a lot of places.
Of course, yeah.
So it's one of those things that I was a bit like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'll lay off. I'll keep watching Battle Rap, and started getting involved in the original forum. A little while afterwards, I couldn't tell you the exact date. But yeah, started getting involved in the original forum.
What was your name? What was your handle on there? Do you remember?
It's me, Emily.
It's me, Emily. Yeah, which is sort of
so
continued,
I got the nickname Memes from it.
Right.
By Jack Howarth. Mm-hmm. Is it Howarth? It is
JTC, right?
Yeah.
OG.
And obviously Callum and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And a Reg and so on and so forth. So there's a group of us in there, and I sort of came a bit late to the party, really. But yeah, from then onwards, went to my second event, which was another Brighton one, done in what used to be called Blind Tiger Club, which is now Brewdog. But it was...
Is that? I'm trying to think what event that was, actually. That's not the one where Youth Oracle battled Una. Oh, no, that wasn't that in Plymouth, I think. That was in...
No, it was Shuffle T and Marlowe versus Wizard and Scissors.
Oh, yeah. I love that venue. Awesome venue. Like a sort of, I don't know, it's quite a charming sort of charity hipster bar aesthetic to it.
Yeah, very sort of like, it's got all these, or it used to have all these great paintings all over the walls and stuff like that. It actually got closed down for noise complaints, which is a bit of a thing in Brighton. Right. But yeah, no, it was Shuffle T and Marlowe versus Wizard and Scissors, and I think it was Mozprob versus Adam the Rapper, and
JB versus Rinselin, I think they faced off there, and a few other ones. So yeah, not a bad day. Cool to see Shufflo. That's like a classic Shufflo performance as well.
I know, it was a massive thing. Yeah, that being my first event I could go to and drink at, and so on and so forth. It was one of those things that it was just a great experience. Didn't meet as many people. I think I was quite like shy. Saw a lot of the rom-com lot again, because obviously they're Brighton, and a lot of the people, well, one of the girls that I went with is good friends with them. So I spoke to them, but apart from that, I didn't actually really speak to anyone, to be honest with you. So it was quite like it was a good event to go and watch battles, but it was not one of the events where I sort of end up meeting all of these people and so on and so forth. So yeah.
And soon after this, I guess around this time, not sure the exact dates, Viewpoint becomes a thing. And fair to say that this led to, a newfound appreciation of who you were as a figure in the scene. Because it's hard for people to think going back, but when I was just, I still am, but when I was just a lowly forum dweller, as lame as this sounds, but I'm sure a lot of people will remember this, you were sort of a known name, as a lot of people were who were non-battlers. And it was a nice time. It was a democratic era. I know a lot of people don't like forums for that reason, that fans and battlers are the same, blah, blah, blah. But as a fan, I quite enjoyed seeing that.
I did. Do you know what? I know there's so many arguments for and against forums, and I'm not going to go into them. Obviously, it's not the time, nor is it the place. But it's one of those things that I think Viewpoint, in its glory days, and you can't see I'm doing like air quotes at the moment, but the glory days of Viewpoint kind of thing. Yeah. It was a really nice place to be, because it was fans and battlers alike kind of thing, and I think UK battle rap is doing that now as well. Mm-hmm. We went through such a period of sort of separation as such kind of thing, and it was nice at one point in Viewpoint, just everyone, it was like a proper community page, like everyone was heard. It was one of those things that it was just a really nice forum to be on. Like I enjoyed being on it, hence why I was so much.
Yeah. And I mean, going forward event wise, what were some of the things you went to around this era?
So Checkpoint was a huge one for me.
Wow. I would have loved to have gone. Wow. Crazy.
Metrone.
Yeah, so, which will become pertinent later, I think. Yeah. So this was in Checkpoint 2.
Checkpoint, not first Checkpoint. I don't think I was old enough when it was
that was like 2013. But where Sharon battled Darts and Luna returned, and
Yeah, and it was Michael White.
Michael White, Pedro. Yeah, of course, yeah. Shuffle versus 100. That card, Soul versus C Major. What a crazy card Checkpoint 2 was. Jesus.
I was so glad that I could like be at that event. That was just one of the most phenomenal events that I think it's probably one of the best events I've ever been to be honest with you. It was crazy. It was absolute madness, and every battle, I mean, apart from maybe Michael White, but that's because it's a personal preference. I know some people like him, some people don't. But I think every battle was just, I enjoyed every single battle that was there that day. Whereas I've been to cards as of late, and this is not being horrible because it is solely down to my taste, but a lot of battles for me haven't worked, and I've not just been interested. Whereas that one, I was there for every single battle, watching every single thing, kind of like on top of it all, if that makes sense.
And as lame as it is to ask this, I must ask this: were you getting recognised at this event?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think from the point of, again, not sounding big-headed, but like in a sense blowing up on Viewpoint and people then knowing who I was, there was a lot of me introducing myself to people and people being like, yeah, I know who you are. Mm-hmm. And situations like that. So it wasn't maybe a case of people saying like, oh my god, you're Emily Tilley. Like, I think it may have happened like once. And I had like oh my god, this is like being famous. I'm not sure how I feel about this. But like a lot of times it was like I was introducing myself to people, just being like, oh my god, please, like, be my friends. And people were like, yeah, no, and we know your name off of Viewpoint, kind of thing. So yeah, it was a good event for that kind of thing, for just it's weird. It's a weird situation for me.
Were you upstairs? Because I mean, people who haven't been to Ministry, it has quite a cool sort of VIP area where you can look over the battles. Were you in those sort of deigned realms then, or? I was, yeah. Not sure how. You were Emily Tilley, you know.
No, I know it doesn't. The name doesn't hold that much standing, to be honest with you. Like, it really doesn't. But yeah, no, I was up there, and that was just, yeah, again, another amazing experience. Like, I can't even begin to describe it.
And so many good events around this era. You know, when we look back on the sort of 2015. Did you go to Sunburn 2, which is shortly after?
I did indeed. Yeah, definitely.
I get another one I would have loved to have gone to. Another crazy 2-day event. The quality of Sunburn 2 is outstanding. Yeah,
I know. Sunburn 2 was just such a good event. I just, like you said, everything around that time, it was like I think it was like a peak in Don't Flop, I found, maybe. I don't know whether that's just my opinion, but I think obviously you built up to, I think, the crescendo, and then I think this is like not the best it was going to get, but it was like staying at a very good high level.
Yeah.
And then I think it then just sort of did what it did afterwards.
Yeah. There's going to be that sort of boom and bust, isn't there? There's going to be that sort of, you know, bubble economics, definitely, with the growth of it. And let's get to 7th birthday. I was at 7th birthday, actually, and I remember seeing Sharon versus Juan live. Yeah. And so a lot of people will be aware of this, probably aware of you mostly through this. I remember there was a thread on Reddit at the time, like, who is Emily Tilley? Why did she keep getting mentioned in everything? And this is probably the most obvious answer here. So Juan does a quite awkward round, really, about you and Sharon and him spooning you, etc. And you know, I don't want to downplay it, because it's kind of, you know, it clearly maybe wouldn't have been the greatest thing to have happened. Like, did Juan ask permission beforehand, or?
It was one of those things that me and Juan, I'd mentioned it to him that it was okay to use it. We'd been friends for a while, and it's one of those things. It just sort of came about. I didn't feel adverse to it. Obviously afterwards I felt awful and was like, what have I done? I've got myself into a bad situation, and I felt horrible, because it is one of those things that I didn't realise at the time how much effect it has on a person, if that makes sense. So when you're battling, having that said against you can seriously then be said throughout the entire career. It gives them an angle for life that I've noticed. Yeah. So it's one of those things that at the time I was a bit like, okay, yeah, like you can mention it if you want to mention it, it's fine. But then afterwards, like once it had happened, I went up and apologised to Sharon, and I was like, it was because it was true, but it was not necessarily exactly right, if that makes sense. What Juan said, but yeah, it's one of those things that I went up to Sharon afterwards and like apologised, and it was what you never know how it's going to go down in a battle. That's the thing, and I didn't realise how it would go down. And yeah. So basically, yeah, I did say about it to Juan.
And it's very surreal, isn't it? Like, I guess I've had sort of similar experiences where people have mentioned Battle Rap Resume in battles, and Dialect says Tom Quee against Scoop. So it's, you know, not in a sort of dissing way like this, where he's sort of exposing anything, but it is odd to see, you know, your own name in something you love in some sort of minor thing. Like, what were the feelings there? Because you're there at an event, you're trying to enjoy an event, but you keep coming up in these battles.
The thing is, my name's very good for multi-ing.
That's true. That is true.
It's such a good name for it, and it's so unfortunate for me, but it's so good for people wanting to use my name. And it was one of those things that, like, that my name doesn't get brought up and nice things are said around it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not as if people are like, Emily Tilley is a really nice person. They're like talking about how I'm fat or something like that. Right. So it's one of those things that, if I hadn't have been involved in the scene for so long, me being mentioned so many times in battles, I would have completely, I would have walked out, I would have gone off crying. But me understanding the scene and understanding that unfortunately that's just how it is if you're in that situation, I was very much like, okay, well, you see my reaction with Big T Yunnan. I think it was either Avocado possibly or Liam zoomed in on my face, and I'm just there sort of smiling, not knowing how to react to the whole situation. So it's one of those things, it's really, as soon as like it happens, my stomach drops and I'm like, oh my god, what are they going to say? And then you just laugh along, because I know that if maybe not, I wouldn't like laugh along if it was another girl being mentioned, you know what I mean? But at the same time, if they used a good angle and stuff like that, then I kind of understand it being used within the battle.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Big T Yunnan gets mentions O'Shea versus Kid Twist, Sharon, as you say, versus Juan. What are the other? I don't mean to be dredging up the painful past here, but like, what are the other battles? I can't remember any of the other ones.
So
I'm pretty sure Crafty 100 Bullets says something, does he?
Yeah, 100. No, it's Soul Jitsu versus 100 Bullets.
Oh, okay,
so Soul Jitsu said something about spooning like Sharon and Emily Tilley in one of the battle in his battle against 100 Bullets. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I'd have to watch it back. I've sort of put it to the depths of my brain, to be honest with you, for this moment in time. Yeah. But I know, it got mentioned in quite a few. So like you said, the Sharon one, the Big T. Because we had all that Big T stuff going on at the time.
What was that Big T stuff? He was like, obsessed with you, right?
Yeah, honestly, mate, I just don't know. Like, I sit there and I think back about the situation, and I just don't know how it even began. And it was one of those things. It was another thing that just kind of escalated, completely escalated to the point where Funzo.
Yes, there's a song about it, isn't there?
There's a song. There's a. Oh, there's a song. I can't believe there's an actual song about it. So it all sort of escalated, and I know a lot of the time, whenever I post on a forum, Big T would comment on it, or he'd put a post up saying that we were going to get married and stuff like that, and it was just a huge thing at the time, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's just completely out of the blue, though. I honestly could not tell you where it came from.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a meme or something that he latched onto. He did it with Rob Wilson as well, Big T, didn't he? So he has that sort of element to him. And what do you think, in the sort of wider scope of battle rap, it's an odd phenomenon, that the female bystander. So Laura Tarsi, for example, in King of the Dark gets mentioned a lot by Sharon and others. Nunu Nels in URL. Why are there these female targets in battle rap, Emily? It's a big question, I know, but
there's so many different routes I could go down. No, I honestly, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to. I just, sorry, words. Okay, it's one of those things that I think with male battlers, it's good to find a name, first of all, that you can latch onto, that people know of, because it will get you a reaction, and because you're adding a female into the situation, it then opens up like a whole other like door for angles, like a complete different, like there's so many things that can be said if you then put a female in the situation. It's like why people say about people's girls or people's mums, and do you know what I mean? It's always, if you bring a female into the situation, you're then not only insulting the guy, but you're then adding the two together and making an insult out of it, which gives you a whole plethora of angles which you can use. So I think it's just one of those things that it can sometimes be I don't know whether it's a good tool, but a tool that people can use when they do their writing. Yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't know whether that's right, and I'll probably have people being like, no, that's completely wrong, that's not why they're mentioned. But yeah. No.
I just searched Emily Tilley on Twitter, trying to find old tweets that maybe mention you, because I'm a weirdo. Only one I could find right now was Max Sherry, who tweeted, Emily Tilley defo outdone me with the amount of time she got mentioned, though. So,
yeah,
you know, Mac was
a little bit salty about the whole situation. I reckon. I think
so. I think so.
Hopefully he's not crying about it.
Was this a turning point for you after 7th birthday? Were you a bit like, I don't really want to be involved with this anymore, or did you not mind?
So, 7th birthday weekend. When was 7th birthday weekend? Was it in the summer? Oh, I can't remember.
No, it was like 2015, like November maybe.
Yeah, so I wasn't actually supposed to go to 7th birthday weekend. I'd had a really tough sort of time. I'd lost a family member and stuff like that. So I wasn't even supposed to go to the event. And I ended up turning up sort of surprise, I'm here kind of thing. And I think from that point onwards, I had so much going on in my life separate to that, and I still watch battles, and if I could still get to events, then I would. But I work in bars, so unfortunately, a lot of the time when I have to work, it's when events are. So it was one of those things that I'd started heavily working in bars and slowly sort of working my way up to sort of supervisory roles and stuff like that, and it was I just didn't have time for it anymore. And then I think it got to a point, I can't remember what event it was, but I think it got to a point where I just said, look, I need to take a step back from this, and I didn't necessarily take a step back as a whole from the forum, but it was one of those things that I found that I commented on less, or I didn't just put up a post just because I wanted to create a conversation anymore. It's one of those things that I'd be interested in something and comment on something if I was interested in it or had an opinion about it, but at the same time I sort of would then bring myself back a little bit and not get as involved, because it just became a bit too much, really.
I bet, yeah, it was a bit of an onslaught, really, the mentions. So yeah, it's understandable. What did you go to any events after that? I mean, I saw you at the Bender Memorial, but obviously that was quite a few years after 7th birthday. So was there anything in between?
Yeah, I was going to a couple. So I went to Next in Line 2, which was a fucking awesome event.
Yeah,
honestly, that
so
event
good.
was just so goddamn good, and props to all of the team for doing that. So props to Danny Jack, and props to Rimo, and just everyone who got involved in it. It was just phenomenal. It's such a good event. And then before then, I'd gone to there was a Sunburn 3, wasn't there? I'm not going crazy.
There was a Sunburn 3. It wasn't received too well, and there weren't many people there. But yeah, there was definitely an event.
Yeah, so I went to Sunburn 3. I remember that. I went to Checkpoint 3 as well. So I went to see
Soul versus Raptor and Copyright Tenchu and that sort of stuff.
Copyright Tenchu, and it was what's the name of the guy? Troy Brown?
Yeah, Troy versus Tony. Yeah. Versus
Tony. Yeah, which was I love that battle so much. I love Troy a lot. He's a great human, and it's just such a good event. And yeah, so I went to that one, and I've been to a couple, but honestly, probably in the past year, I've been to maybe 1-2 events. Over the past 2 years, really. I've sort of just massively backed off from it all. I still get involved in it, and I'll still be there and then involved in it. But for a while, I wasn't going to any, and then I went to Rappers Fool the other day, which was another absolutely awesome event, and I got to meet Thesaurus.
Oh man, you were there.
I was there.
That looked like a crazy event.
It was amazing, and yeah. So I think within the past sort of, I don't know, 6 months, I've sort of my timings aren't very good, so bear in mind that my timings are completely out of whack. So I'm just saying random times, but for a long time I didn't go to events. Sure. But I went to King of the Dot not that long ago either.
You did?
In October.
Oh my god, what event was that?
So I think that was World Dom.
World Dom. You went to the most recent World Dom. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, I did.
Did anyone recognise you there?
Yeah, I had this moment. So it was when Bobby was battling. They did it at Ground Zero. And I was outside, and I started speaking to this girl, just being like, well, only knowing a couple people. I only really knew Bobby, only really knew Dundee, and I just had to introduce myself to people and stuff like that. And I knew people, for example, like Charlie Clips and stuff like that. I briefly knew them, and we'd spoken the day before at the main event. But it was one of those things I didn't know them well enough to sort of stand over by them and so on and so forth. And Shotty was there, so I had a couple of conversations with him and stuff. But I was outside and I was speaking to this girl, just trying to meet new people and stuff. And Organic walks out with Gully and Bishop. I think Bishop was there anyway. And this girl introduced me to Gully, and Gully's like, "Hi, nice to meet you," in a Canadian accent, which I'm not even going to attempt to do. And then Organic, she's like, "Yeah, this girl's Emily Tilley," and Organic goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." And honestly, in that one moment, I think my brain just exploded. It just went. Honestly, it's one of those moments where you're like, "Fuck. How have I got here? How is this happening?"
It's amazing. So what, you flew over there especially for it? That's crazy that you went.
I went over to see family.
Right.
And it was actually Bender who notified me about it. So we'd spoken at Next in Line, and he said, "Oh well," I said, "I'm going over at this time." And he's like, "Oh, well, you going to World Dom?" He's like, "I'm going to hopefully try and make it over," but he'd been traveling a lot because he was going to Barcelona and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize it was on at the same time." So yeah, ended up.
What a coincidence! Amazing.
Yeah, so it's like perfect timing. So I spent the 2 days over there, it was just so good. It was so good. Yeah, met so many people. I went to Canada before, and I didn't go to an event, but I met up with like Battle Rap Chris, and I met up with Nameless and stuff like that. So me and Nameless went for tacos. Awesome. He's one of my favourite humans to exist on the planet. Nameless is just if you ever meet him, he's just the most wonderful, warm person. And I'd never met him before. We'd only spoken online and stuff like that. And he was like, "Yeah, we'll come meet you downtown. We'll go for tacos and stuff like that." So we went for tacos, had a couple of margaritas and stuff like that, and chilled out. So it was one of those things that him and Battle Rap Chris, my first time going over there, well, when I first went over there, knowing people through Battle Rap kind of thing, they made me feel so welcome. And then going again was just crazy. Going again and meeting all of these people was just it was a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Nameless, he seems like a lovely guy. I need to get him on the show, actually. I think that'd be a really good episode. He's a great battler.
He'd be perfect for it. Yeah, he is just a lovely human. He's the first person to message me when he sees anything's wrong. I've got so much time for him. I've got so much time for that guy. Yeah.
What did you think about the dissolution of Don't Flop and the current leagues that have sprung up?
I think I loved Don't Flop. I really loved Don't Flop, and Don't Flop was fantastic. But having Don't Flop crumble to create all of these things, I think may have also been very good because it's created like a competitiveness. If that makes sense, because when it was Don't Flop, you only really had King of the Ronalds. And to be honest with you, although King of the Ronald events I've heard are really good, and some of the battles that come out of King of the Ronalds are good, and I've never been to an event, and I think you have, haven't you?
I've been to quite a few, yeah. Yeah,
but I think on the scale of things, King of the Ronalds never quite began to get to where Don't Flop was. No. So being able to have all of these leagues sort of growing and creating a competitive nature, I think is really good. And I appreciate that Shotty's, so like Premier Battles, has got a complete different setup to it. So it is similar to what you would do, but I like that it's got a different setup to it because it gives it a unique selling point, really, doesn't it? And it's one of those things that it makes it more interesting because you are interested in what team you want and so on and so forth. Like it's good, and it's created like a good buzz within the community because you see people talking about like Pride, and you see people talking about everything and nights, and like it's one of those things that's created a very good and positive like resurge of interest, I think, within the scene.
But I mean, regardless of what happened, it's still a great shame that Don't Flop's gone, right? I mean,
massively
greatest league of all time, and there's not even a second to me. It will always be Don't Flop. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's gonna take a lot for anyone to.
I mean, it's just it's never going to dethrone it because everyone just comes from Don't Flop.
Exactly, it's what really it just rocketed battlers, like being like the events that we have now and the leagues that we have now would not have been possible if Don't Flop had not been there to set the pathway for it before. And it's just Don't Flop was fantastic, and it's just shame the way it went, and it was a shame the way that people were treated by the end of it. And I've always really liked her. I've always really liked her, and I've always considered him a friend of mine, and he's always actually been a relatively protective over me. And it's really difficult because I also then am very good friends with people like Callum and so on and so forth. Sure. And seeing them being seriously hurt by it, like I put a comment on a post the other day, someone was saying about something about Callum, and I just commented saying I saw the effects of him not being paid by her. Like, I saw the effects and what it actually did to him and his situation, and like, I hated that because Callum is such a I always have considered him such a close friend of mine. It just seeing him being affected by it was quite hard to see, and it then really did change my opinion about the whole situation. I think that one situation with him changed my whole opinion on it. So I went from being very non-biased and being like, I just want to hear the whole situation, to very upset at the situation at hand. Of
course, yeah, it's sad, definitely what's happening, and I guess the plus side is to see Callum and all the guys, what they've gone on to, the great stuff they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it, that all these Don't Flop guys have gone on to Unilad, like the biggest, pretty much the biggest sort of social aggregator, / website, tastemaker in the world right now.
Yeah, I've started, it's like a whole process again. I've started to fangirl all over again for these people that I've already met and have already spoken to and become relatively okay friends with. But I've then, like, for example, my friends tag me in stuff that Shuffle T and Marlo have been in, and I'm like, I know them, like, I know these people, like, I spent time with them before. I completely, again, I start fangirling, and when I see Bamalam and
oh man, and all the celebrities Bamalam's interviewed, what the hell? Yeah, I know.
I know. I see it, and I just get so jealous. But it's just so phenomenal what they've all done for themselves, and they carved such a good path, and they've just done so well, and it's just amazing to see that they've sort of, without sounding cheesy, which it's gonna sound, they've sort of risen from the ashes massively.
They definitely have. And I guess just to close up, Emily, like, your battling tastes in general, favourite battlers, favourite battles, like, you know, who do you like?
I'm a funny battle girl,
okay.
So I like being able to sit there and laugh, and I like heavy sarcasm and stuff like that. So generally speaking, I like battlers that a lot of people don't like, because they don't think they stick to what the scene should be, if that makes sense. So they're not all these sort of like heavy bar battlers. I prefer if they sit there and do jokes. So I really love one of my favourite battles, and I'm probably going to get so much hate for this, but one of my favourite battles to watch is Tricky P versus Marlo. Like, I love watching that battle because it just makes me giggle.
Yeah.
And I love battles like that. I love people who can just make me laugh, because I do watch a lot of battles, and it's one of those things, I just like it being lighthearted. I like that kind of thing. So I'm sort of like a cliche Marlo Shuffle.
We did our top 10 funniest battle rappers. Well, top 10 funniest Don't Flop battle rappers with Pamphlet quite a while ago, and Marlo is my number one.
Yeah,
I think Marlo is the funniest Don't Flop battler in history, at least to me. It's just that bemused befuddlement, that crazy energy that he has, tied in with the sort of literary lyricism that just makes him, you know, unbeatable, really. Such a dynamite battler.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I just love that. I love that about him. His battle style just makes me, like I said, I just love to laugh.
Yeah.
And it's why I liked Wizard, and I know there's been a lot of debates about Wizard recently on the forum and stuff like that. But I really like Wizard because I know it's all satire, and I know when he says it, the way he's so sarcastic about stuff, it just makes me laugh, and I love that. Like, I love that kind of thing. So yeah, all good stuff, really.
And I guess finally, you know, is there anything you'd like to promo? Any Twitter, any projects, that sort of stuff?
Really, no. I don't want anyone to follow me on Twitter because I just talk absolute shit all the time. So, no, I really don't have anything. I don't make music, unfortunately. So, no promos.
There's a song about you if people want to search that.
Yeah. Go listen to that. Do that.
Well,
there you go. Promo that.
Well, this has been great. I want to say, please, everyone, follow the show at Battle Rap Resume. Get in touch with me as well. Patreon's there, iTunes there. Please subscribe. Please comment. But Emily, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
It's all right. I'm more than happy to.